we keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we are curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths, says Walt Disney. Hello, everyone. My name is Shravan Chomani, and we are so excited to have with us a member affiliated with a channel that ruled the screens of all the children and had us glued to our television. Former president of the Walt Disney Company, Asia Pacific, chairman of Star India and the Walt Disney Company India, Mr. Uday Shankar. Hello, sir.
Hello, nice to meet you guys.
Being awarded the most, being awarded
So
the
we are
best.
live.
Hi, sir. Being
Hello.
awarded the best CEO by Forbes India Leadership Award 2015, Mr. Uday Shankar has been someone who was and is never afraid to try new things and stands as a living example of someone who became successful while following an unconventional path. So without any further ado, I, Shravan, on behalf of BITS Embryo, BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus, would now like to welcome Mr. Uday Shankar. Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you too, and to all of you.
So before we move on to the interview questions and all, would you like to share something with the audience today?
I can share some stuff about myself, but I really don't know what your audience is interested to know about me. I'm a very regular guy who started a very regular life, and the only thing that I've done is that I have kept trying new stuff, and I have not been, I would like to say that I have not been afraid to fail. I've tried not to fail, but I have not allowed the fear of failure to hold me back. And I get excited about new things, and I keep trying new things. And the newer they are, the more excited I get about them. And I try to figure out how to participate in the novelty of the world, in the novelty of human mind, and in the novelty of innovation that we're seeing all around. So that's who I am.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your so busy schedule to have this interview with us. And starting with the interview, today is a time where OTT is on the bloom, right? So during the time of launching Disney Plus Hotstar, what were some of the key challenges that you faced in building and growing the platform, and how did you overcome them?
Well, if you go back to history, Disney Plus Hotstar, it happened later. Originally, the first product that we launched was Hotstar, and that was way back in 2013, 2014. So that was a long time ago. And there were a whole set of challenges. Even Netflix was a new idea. Today, when you look around, you see only streaming services, OTTs. There weren't that many of them back then, and especially in India. The biggest challenge was that this was before the geo data revolution happened. So India was not considered a broadband market. It wasn't considered a market that was ready for video delivery, and especially long form video delivery on mobile devices. The second big problem was that even the few experiments globally that were happening with, even products like Netflix and Prime Video, they were designed primarily for big screen, living room experience. And we were a country. Now things have changed a little bit, but back then, 98% of the market was Android mobile, and that too, the variety of handsets that were there. So we understood very early that if we had to create something that had any possibility of becoming a mass market product, then we could not follow a Western model. We had to design something which was uniquely tailored to Indian needs, low bandwidth, a product that could run on low bandwidth, that was primarily designed for mobile, and that to Android mobile devices, for a variety of devices, because from expensive high-end mobile devices which were much fewer in number, there were a large number of very small, very cheap mobile devices which were there. So we had to make sure that we cater to the needs of India. So uniquely customizing, conceiving a product for the Indian market and Indian consumer and customizing for them was a big challenge. And then the second one was to then go ahead and find the talent for it, because the market wasn't developed, so talent wasn't developed. Most of the work that was happening in streaming media sector was happening in the Western world. So we really had to put together a team of people who were very familiar with ambiguity, lack of precedence, and who were high quality thinker and good at execution at the same time. And that's how Hotstar got built.
That was like a nice journey, like a nice arc, I would say, about Hotstar, like from the start to where it is now. The media landscape, as I see, is constantly evolving, especially with the rise of Hotstar and other digital platforms. Like, how did you navigate the challenges and opportunities presented by the digital shift during your tenure, like at Star India?
So at Star India, bulk of the time that I spent there, the digital evolution was still in a very early stage. So the shift started happening only later. And the one thing that we were lucky with, that my team and I, we were able to identify the shift that was happening or likely to happen in India well before the shift started to be visible. So we were ready for it when the movement happened. Hotstar was there in the market. It was a good product, technologically advanced, consumers loved it. And so when the data revolution was heralded by the launch of Jio in 2016 or so, then we were very ready with it. And we also knew very clearly, Star was by far the most successful television business in the country and in this part of the world. And but we knew that we could not build Hotstar without letting it compete actively and aggressively with Star. So we did not put guardrails around the ambitions of Hotstar. We said these are like two independent entities, two independent products, two very different ideas, and let them go head to head. So that is how that I think was the important thing that we sort of identified and we stayed true to in order to navigate those changes.
That's very thoughtful, sir. Like as I have seen, like apart from your work in media and streaming, you're also known for your efforts to promote innovation and entrepreneurship in India. Like, what do you think are the key ingredients for a thriving innovation ecosystem in India?
There are lots of things. There is a lot of innovation. India is is one of the centers of innovations globally. We have a population which is young, which is aspirational, which is not held back by legacy and tradition. So it's a great place, and a lot of innovation is happening. And I'm not sure there are clear clear roadmaps for that. But there are two or three things that are really very important. Shravan. One is you have to appreciate how innovation happens. Innovation happens when someone has a great idea, have an idea that they're obsessed with. They think it can solve a problem or it can bridge a gap. But there's a big difference between an idea and turning that idea into a business. And that is where the innovation ecosystem that we talk about is required to be able to do that, to hold the hand of the innovator or the entrepreneur and take them from the idea stage all the way to building a robust business. And that requires, you may have a very good idea, but if you're not able to turn that idea into, put that into a framework of successful business paradigm, then many times those ideas are not able to scale up, and that's what has happened. A lot of things that you and I see every day, which look very exciting to us, And probably they actually are. And then 2 years or 5 years later, when you look around, they don't exist, or they're struggling. It's primarily because the conversion of idea or the maturity of idea into a sustainable business framework or a product framework, which goes and competes, in the marketplace by solving the needs of the consumer and catering to them, to their requirements. That process hasn't been followed. And if you talk about building an ecosystem, then that's the most important part, that how do you help people? And I think the most important thing, capital was a problem until a few years ago, and then too much of capital became a problem. And now the water is settling down to a normal level. But I think the most important thing is to help these young, ambitious, dynamic, bright youngsters like yourselves in mentoring them, that how do you take an idea and do not get carried away by your own dream, but be very, keep the dream alive, but be very mature about how to build it, how to build it into something very big, very successful, that can stand the test of time. So I think all the entrepreneurs and innovators and youngsters who are doing this need this kind of support and help. And I think we can do a great deal of innovation if we put that framework in place.
Now that I hear about your thoughts about the startup and entrepreneurships, I would like to ask you, what aspects of the current startup culture and market environment would you like to really change and improve?
So, it's actually a lead out from the previous answer that I gave you. The most important thing there is to make sure that, it's important to fund the entrepreneur, the person with the idea. But that's just when, I've always believed that when you don't have money, then money is the biggest challenge or biggest problem to solve. But once you have the money, then a whole lot of other problems arise that you need to solve. And today, the biggest problem that I see in the innovation setup is that a lot of good ideas and good innovators are, of course, struggling to get money. But once they get money, everybody who's given them the money just thinks that they have solved all the problem. And this young 24-year, 28-year, 30-year-old kid or young man or woman should be able to go and solve all the problems. That is where they need help. You need help in putting a sustainable business model. You need help in putting a leadership team, because the person who originally came up with the idea has one great idea, but to take that idea and mature it into something that's sustainable, you need many more people. You literally need a whole village to come together to do this. And that is the most important thing that we need to do right now. All the things that you're seeing, a lot of great names that you hear about today, which were the flavors of the season in many sectors a year ago or 2 years ago, got billions of dollars, had insane valuations, and today they are struggling. They're struggling primarily because, the founders and the entrepreneurs are getting a lot of brickbats for that. But the people who just put the money and thought it was all done, they are not getting their due share of the blame. They need to be pulled up as much, because you cannot just give the money. And sometimes money itself is the biggest problem. You cannot not help the people in creating very robust foundations for building something sustainable.
So being a student of BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus, which is a graduation college and as well as higher degree college, what would your advice be to college students who are starting out to build their own businesses from the very start? And what do you think some of the major challenges that a budding entrepreneur will face in the current market?
Look, first and foremost, I would advise everyone that if you have a great idea, give it a shot. You may or may not succeed, but you don't want to live with a regret. So if you have a great idea, give it a try. But do not get carried away by your own idea. keep your eyes and ears open, take advice, listen to people. And if someone criticizes you, that person is probably your best friend. And take that criticism, assess it, use your intelligence to assess it. You don't have to blindly follow either a friend or a critic, but take all of that into account. And once you have that idea, put together as good a team as you can. You don't have to put a big team, but always surround yourself with people who are better than you, who you think are better than you. Don't surround yourself with people who are worse than you or same as you. You need people who challenge you and push you to get better. And that's how you will come out with, you will be able to develop your idea. That said, of course, you need to raise the capital, and that should be possible. And then finally, have a long-term plan. Don't be in a hurry. I always say, play a test match. Don't play a T20, even though it is more attractive. But the test of skill, caliber, and character is in a test match. So do that. Go slow. Do not, don't get distracted by things like valuation. Oh, and my neighbor has got this kind of valuation, and my neighbor's name appeared in the Economic Times. Those are complete distractions. Be very focused, play for the long term, and be very open. Put together a great team, and I'm sure you will come out with something great.
So from the answer that you gave me, I got a follow-up question. What are the biggest myths that are surrounding entrepreneurship and business administration?
That it is, building a high quality, successful, big business is fun and easy. It is not. And that, it requires genius. It doesn't. It does, but those are all minor ingredients. It requires discipline, diligence, great teamwork, and a lot of time.
So India has become one of the leading markets for digital education in the last few years, with many edtech companies coming up. So how do you see it evolving in the future? What are the kind of innovations you anticipate in this sector happening?
Oh, I think it's just the beginning of the season of innovation in education, because, I think everyone who's come into the sector so far, the only thing they have solved for, and they need to be complimented for this, is that they have solved for distribution of educational content, which was tough earlier. Unless you went to a classroom or sat in front of a teacher, access to content was not there. Digital or edtech in education has solved for delivery of that content online. A teacher can speak and it's available to everybody in the country or outside. But that's just about it. Just by delivering content, you cannot educate people. Education takes you, all of you are students, you understand that very well. You've gone and you're sitting at the 𝗏𝗏 campus, most of you far away from your homes, because you know that sitting there on the campus will give you a lot more learning. Your teachers understand where you're struggling, where interventions are required, where problem solving is required, where peer groups come together to help one another, all kinds of things. And that part is still to be solved. I think, we are just scratching the surface of education, solving the problem of education. And it is probably one of the biggest after global warming and sustainability. It is probably the biggest problem we are facing in this country, the problem of education, because as more and more youngsters and their parents want their children to have good education, the traditional centers of education, schools, colleges, by and large, are completely failing to meet the need. So to bridge this gap, you need, technology is the only resource that we have. We can use technology and creativity to make sure that people who don't have access to great campuses like BITS, and they still get the same quality of education. And when they are struggling somewhere, or when they get stuck at a concept or application, they're able to get the support. And we need, technology is ready to do that. We need imagination and, again, discipline and diligence to build that. So I think it's just the beginning of the story in edtech.
So the intersection of cutting edge technology and digital media consumption is gaining prominence. So how do you think emerging technologies such as AR, VR, and AI can be leveraged to enhance the viewer experience and engage audiences in an innovative way?
It's happening all the time already, right? If you've seen any of the new movies, if you saw Avatar, or if you saw Oppenheimer and all of that, if you, even the movies that have been made in India, there is a lot of technology that's going in, and it is unimaginable how well creativity and technology have blended together. There was always a fear that technology would replace creativity, but that's not the case. They have come together to enhance the power of each other. Technology without creativity is boring and not applicable, and creativity without technology is very limited. So that is what is happening, and that process will continue to get more and more sort of exciting.
So could you give us an insight into your future endeavors and your long-term vision for all your ventures in the coming years?
I don't have too many ventures. I have just 2 ventures in which I'm with which I'm involved right now. My fund and my team. We've made an investment in 𝗪𝗶𝗆𝗍𝗍, media and entertainment company, which operates the colors brands of TV channels and JioCinema, the streaming platform. And the other investment we have made is in a company called Allen Career Institute, which prepares students for medicine and engineering entrance tests, which, as you all know, are extremely competitive. And those are the only 2 ones. The reason for doing that is that I'm a big believer in the power of technology, especially when it comes for the whole world, but when it comes to countries like India, which have a lot, which have a population which is huge and surging with aspiration, but resources for that population is limited. And technology is the only way we can solve the appetite that people have for more and more content and affordable prices everywhere. If television was great, and I did my share of things with television in building it up and making it more exciting, but it was limiting unless you owned a TV set, and unless you had a place to keep the TV, and unless you had a subscription to a cable or a DTH connection, you could not access content. But now with mobile phones and the internet, you don't need to do all that. No matter where you are, you can watch content, and it's become much more affordable. So I believe that this has happened because of technology. Technology has made it ubiquitous, widely distributed, and very affordable. Same thing is happening in education. So I'm a big believer in the power of technology, and whatever my team and I are doing, it is only to ensure that we just use the power of technology and creativity and imagination to bridge the deficit between this country's people's aspirations and the supply that's available.
So you have earned a diploma in journalism at Times School of Journalism in Delhi, and earned extensive experience while working in Zee TV, Aaj Star News. So having this amazing track record, I would say, what are your key takeaways from the field of journalism?
From the field of journalism? Oh, that's an interesting question. Let me think about it. The one big lesson that I learned as a journalist is that society values those who value society, or who try to create value for society. If you're doing something that is going to be of value to the broader society, you'll always be able to get the respect of the society and value from the society. Big businesses are built, and some businesses are successful, some businesses are not, primarily because the businesses that are successful, or the people who are successful, were able to solve or meet the needs that existed in the society. And that is something that I learned as a journalist. So that has given me a very sort of powerful way of looking at things, that am I doing something that is going to be of value to a large number of people in my country, in my society, in my world? And if the answer is yes, then I'll get the respect and I'll get the success. That's what journalism taught me. So we all exist and we all must exist to help and benefit the society that we are part of.
That's a very inspiring insight, sir. Like you've transitioned across several domains and roles throughout your career and have excelled in every capacity. What is your process to equip yourself with the required skills and knowledge, like with each transition?
There's no process, but there are some character traits that I have. I think I'm very curious. And I think curiosity is one of the greatest assets that anyone can have. And you must cultivate your curiosity, because every big journey begins with the curiosity to go somewhere. And I'm curious. I'm curious about everything. I'm curious about small things, and I'm curious about big things. I'm curious in my personal life, and I'm curious in my work life. So I think that I have stoked my curiosity. I have nurtured my curiosity. I have not allowed to let it die. I've never felt that, I know enough. I don't need to know more. So that's one. And two, grit. I think grit is the other big quality. Everybody finds it difficult sometime or the other. Everybody struggles. The difference between successful people and those who are not is that successful people don't give up when they're struggling. And I think I have that. Once I start something, I don't like to give up. So curiosity and grit, I think those are two things that have equipped me to be able to do multiple things. And the final thing, which is equally important, if not more, is don't have the fear of failure. You are just another soul in this world full of great, amazing people. The fear that I will fail and hence I should not try is either a sign of stupidity or arrogance. Everybody fails. So what's wrong if I fail? You should try to make sure that you don't fail, but do not hold yourself back because you might fail.
So amidst your numerous roles and commitments, what rituals and practices do you often engage in to maintain your energy, focus, and passion for your various ventures and projects?
I get excited about new things. That's the source of my energy. I told you, I'm like a child on a seashore. Every wave brings new seashells and I keep chasing them. So I like that. But at a physical level, I think, me and my wife at home, we eat healthy, we eat well. We do a little bit of physical activity to keep ourselves fit. We sleep on time. I get up early, and that gives me the energy and strength to keep doing what I'm doing.
So on the occasion of having celebrated our 77th Independence Day, we would like to know what Bharat means to you in 3 words.
In 3 words? That sounds like a quiz show. Okay. Identity, dignity, and aspiration. If I were to describe Bharat, it is these 3 things. Bharat of today.
It feels great to hear that, and I'm sure we all share a warm place for Bharat in our hearts as well. So that brings us to the end of this amazing session today, and it was my pleasure to host you. On behalf of everyone at BITS Embryo, BITS Villani Hyderabad campus, again, I would like to thank you for taking the time out to have this interview with us. I'm sure the audience learned a lot from our interaction, and thank you everyone for joining our session today. We hope to continue to bring you more such entertaining and insightful sessions in the future. Till then, take care and stay safe. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you, Shravan, and all the best to all of you.